Okay, before I start, let's do a recording. Okay, so a quick test. Let's see whether it works. I hope everybody sees this. Okay, let's go on and start. So thanks for coming today. I think today what we're going to do is that, you know, the latest round of cooling measures. Okay, so what we're going to do today is I'll just share with you. Some of you are very clear on what's going on. Some of you are still unsure on what the PDSR means, things like that. So very, very clearly, actually, I'll cover this. Then more importantly, I think the more expert stuff will be how to make use of this information. Because any change in market is an opportunity, right? But we need to know how to use this information, how to actually use these new changes to our advantage. Okay? So first and foremost, as I mentioned, those of you who haven't downloaded Zoom yet, just download it. Just type in Zoom. I think usually the first record that comes up in your app store. Okay, and in the future, I'll probably be just talking to myself, maybe at home, right, with my undies, and I can do my training there. Okay. Okay. So first and foremost, if you look at a review, this is basically a review of all the cooling measures today. Okay, so the first cooling measure, some people say the official first cooling measure is 2010 February. That's actually 7 years. That's my 7-year each, right? And after that, okay, so I would say the first measure is in February 2010. So this is basically what they did was they changed the loan to value from 90% to 8%. And next thing they did is that they introduced a 1-year seller penalty. So 1 year you can't sell. But if you sell, what's the penalty? Only 3%. So it's not very. Okay. However, actually, in 2009, there was actually one very, very mild cooling measure. Who can remember what was that? 2009. No. Okay, so 2009, what actually happened was that the deferred payment scheme was removed. That was the first cooling measure because everybody was just buying, paying the initial, then wait until TOP, then they pay the remainder, remember? Then the time new launch moved very fast because all you need is a little bit of money and you can buy entire stack basically. Okay, so that was in 2009. So then 2001 was the official one where they introduced the security. Then within a few months later, what they did is that they introduced first, second, third, 3, 2, 1. Correct? Then the third one came in another few months later. So every 6 months, 12 months, really realize that the market is equally for more. So this one, then after that, subsequently, they came up with in 2011, they came up with the other side with this. So the 4 years holding period basically. Okay, and then of course the loan valuation as well, they had to be using it. They had to be using it on the way to ensure that the market is sustainable. They don't want people to over leverage. So they did work today. I think they did a good job, right? Because it's a very, very soft cushion. So it didn't like crash, but it slowly came off. It came off to a point where, and actually later on, you slowly read what the Ministry of Finance actually said. Okay, it makes a lot of sense because what they actually said, they don't want to crash it, get it, and they reiterate, actually read deeper into what they said, and then after that, later we will actually do what. Okay, so notice we actually survived a period of 3 years. From here to here, we survived a period of 3 years where nothing happened. Okay, but all of us still, generally, we still did okay, right? So by right now, we should be well here, so the nice thing is that every time there's a small little change here and there, if we not direct on the announcement, okay, that's where the opportunity is. Okay. Okay, next. So what did Ministry of Finance say about ABSD? When I said this MOF, I sent this shortcut MOF to my client. Okay, he asked me, what is this? Is it monitor? No, Ministry of Finance. Anyway, what they actually said about ABSD? They actually said, number one, banks healthy transaction volume. there's a firm demand for private housing. Okay? And there's continuing income growth and low interest rates. So they just gave you basically gave you the four selling points on why people should be buying if they can afford it. Okay, because if they just want everything, the buyers basically to be human. Okay, and ensure that you are sufficient financial for others. So if your one can afford, obviously they want you to invest. Okay, so this is the four main reasons why they are not reducing the ABSD. Okay, so no reduction in ABSD. Alright, you can afford to pay. Next, first change SSD. For the benefit of those who still don't know what happened, essentially what happened is that everything for the previously what you understood about SSD, everything just -4. Okay, it's very simple. That's a -4 work. So up to 1 year, so from within 1 year, 16, 12, then second, within first and second year, 12, down to 8. Second year, the third year, 8 down to 4, and more than 3 years, basically after the third year, we become more stable. Okay, so we actually go one step further and look at what did they say about the seller stamp duties. What they said is that the number of property sales during the 4-year window has fallen significantly. So change like this, what does it mean? Which means that they want to encourage selling after the third year. Okay? Then we take one step further. Okay? Oh, there was one thing. Yesterday I was asking Tony, I was actually getting insights from several people within the management as well, like Benson, and ask for their insights on, hey, why do you think we did this? What's the reason behind this? It's so insignificant, but yet I'm sure they didn't do this for the sake of doing it, right? I'm sure there's something significant to this. So Tony shared with me, they say they want to help those people who are starting to property and sell to let us sell earlier. It's not just a bad situation, one is let us sell earlier. However, one very critical thing to note is that they only allow these properties that are just from 11 a month. They didn't allow it. If they really wanted to help those people, they will just say, hey, as long as you go 3 years, really you can sell. Okay, they didn't do that. They actually, so it's a very, if they think about it, that wasn't the intention. Okay? So then we ask ourselves why? Why didn't they include all the purchases before? Okay? No answer to that, but you only can speculate. You do not know the reason why. But obviously, they want basically to look ahead. So then I look at the date. Okay, you buy maybe today, you can close one of the deals. You can actually sell in 2020. Right? So if you can sell in 2020, that means why do we want you to sell in this period? Okay. One of the things we can possibly point at is that this, I actually showed this graph previously. Okay, where the supply entering the market is going lower and lower. Okay, so theoretically, if you look at it in 2019, okay, what's happening is that maybe you see your 2019, obviously all your supply getting lesser and lesser because all they're clearing up the past year's supply. This year is really a lot, right? All of you know the number of empty units is really a lot. Okay, so hopefully in 2001, 2009, it's really up. 2020, unfortunately, data is not there. But obviously, they're showing something that it obviously wants to encourage more selling in the real estate market after 2020, right? This change. Okay, so they're actually looking at it. So, with that, another thing to take note of also, your new launch, okay, all the recent conditions, what happens? Most of the sellers cannot sell. So what happens? Some of them are caught in a bad situation as well. Why? Cannot sell, cannot find tenant. Okay, and they service the monthly. And if they sell, what happens? Chances are they're going to be caught on the final year stamp duties, the 4%. So they want to hold on. So this one, the opportunity I feel from this as well is that come, of course not now, but come 2020, especially all the new launches that were sold from now onwards, the opportunity will be back again. Now, TOP projects, right? I find that it's not lucrative anymore. Not lucrative as last time because last time you came there, you may end up doing a sale or a rental. Now, chances are you are just hoping for the rental, and the rental prices are so low. So it's no longer lucrative anymore. However, come 2020, then it will change again, because just nice when they get the key, they probably finish their SSD already. And then it makes sense to camp there again, because you camp there, you're not only looking for tenants, but you can do the sale as well. So this come 3 years time, TOP project becomes very lucrative again. Okay. So a very useful script, okay, that in your own way you can communicate this to your homeowners, sellers, buyers. After 8 rounds of cooling measures, okay, these are all factual. 8 rounds of cooling measures over a span of 5 years first. Okay, 5 years they really every few months cooling measure, cooling measure, cooling measure. What happened? 3 years of deafening silence. 3 years, everybody speculating. Cooling measure is going to remove. Cooling measure is going to remove. They did the good thing is that they didn't add anymore. Okay, and what happens? But nothing has happened. So the market has declined average about 20% thereabouts, 1% per quarter since they started. Okay, and this is officially the first sign of relaxation of the cooling measures. Okay, this sends a very clear signal that the government likely feels that they have reached their target market price. They wanted to cool it, right? So it looks like they have reached a point where they feel that okay, it's time to start. They probably see that if they hold up longer, it's really going to go down a lot further. So they have to start releasing a little bit, such that to keep a balance in the market. Okay, everybody understands this concept. Okay, we go to the next change. The next change is something that's interesting. It's probably interesting because if you actually look at it, it's not only good for this market, the property market, it's good for other industries as well. We have seen, I personally have seen a lot of people who sell their investment properties, especially the DC owners, to unlock the money. Okay, and what happens now is that I have a couple of them that they took the properties off the market already. That's 2 years ago, because they can actually cash out from their property instead. So a lot of them were holding on to properties, either fully paid up or left very little loan, maybe a loan. But the only way to unlock the money is to sell, right? And you can't, it's not easy to find a buyer for this kind of quantum. So what happens is you're going to give a discount, and this causes the thing to come down. And that's why you see, what's the thing you notice is that all these high value transactions, the price is actually quite erratic. You see units in Sentosa going as low as what, 9 million. At the same time, you still see people buying at 16 million. Same land size. There's a very, very big gap. You see GCBs being transacted at under 1,000. Okay, the recent ones, there was one transacted at 900 plus per square feet. However, you also see GCBs transacting at 1,600 per square feet. Okay, of similar, I would say pretty much similar condition. So why is this? It's because when they need to release the funds, right, on the property, that's where the market can okay, so what happens with this? A lot of people have they don't understand this TDSR thing. Okay, so what happens is that today, assuming you have a property that is worth 1 million, fully paid up, okay, and now, okay, you can, and you are not working anymore, so retired, no more salary. So can you loan against property? The answer is as of previously before 11th of March, you can't. The banks will have to subject you to TDSR. So you can't unlock any money at all. However, now with the new change, he is able to loan 500,000 without being subjected to TDSR. So you can go to the bank, say, hey, I want to refinance my property. Then they do a valuation. Okay, your value of property is worth 1 million. Okay, then I'll refinance for 500,000. Okay, so does everybody understand this? So the monthly payment doesn't fall back into your TDSR again.
So, sorry, what was it previously? So
previously, everything, regardless of what you do, you have to
60% TDSR.
Subjected to TDSR, regardless of the amount. You can't even, if you have no salary, you can't even loan 10%. So now, if you want to take your property is fully paid up, worth 1 million, you want to take out 100,000, no problem. Okay. if you actually see here, he still has this example that was drawn up. He still has outstanding loan here. So which means that he can actually do another 400,000. So you can refinance whole thing up to that. Yes, just the whole refinancing of the whole loan. Yes, yes. Yes. Okay. So that they make it very clear. So the question, right? The question that for the benefit of all those people who are in. Wow. Okay. So we have quite a few participants. That's nice to see. Okay. For the benefit of all those who are zooming in. Okay. James asked a question and he asked, what happens if the owner has multiple properties? Okay. Then they said very clearly, this is subjected to the bank. If the bank want to take the risk to, the bank will assess, probably see his credit bureau, see everything, whether they want to lend the money or not. But now they are not, there's no, previously, even the bank say, yes, I think you're good, I want to lend you the money. Cannot, because they are following MES regulation. So now it's not a regulation thing, it's really up to the bank, whether the bank see, today, although regulations say this, by the bank, all your credit bureau, you never pay your installment for last 6 months, the bank is not going to lend you money also. It's now subject to the banks. At least now MAS left it to the banks to decide whether they want to lend the money. Okay, which is better. But based on 50% LTV, the banks would be comforted there's asset. They're only lending 50%. On the worst case scenario, they take the property back, they put it on auction, they definitely can get back the money. Correct? Asset-based financing, correct? 8% cap on LTV cap on mortgage withdrawal loans. So it's no, TDSR applies all the way up. Yeah. So yeah, so 50%, yeah, Avin. Oops. Who drew on my screen? Please stop drawing on my screen. Yes, so you don't like me, you can write and put them. Okay. Okay, this me. So again, back to this graph. I think this graph what it's trying to show is that from up to 50%, TDSR does not apply. Okay, up to 80% LTV on mortgage withdrawal loans. Okay, TDSR applies. Oh, so the first one is more than 80%. Yes, TDSR applies. Okay. Every is muted. Yeah, but unfortunately, although you're muted, I cannot chop off your hand. You still can draw. So I think we have to figure this out how to stop it. Okay. Wow, do all my slides. Okay. So, what did the Ministry of Finance say about TDSR? Okay, they basically said that they want to let people borrow against your property to obtain cash. Okay, that's what they said. And the other thing also they said is that, so this is the first one they said, flexibility to monetize their properties in the retirement years. Okay, to borrow against the value of the properties to obtain additional cash. You spend the money, right? Now you invest in something, right? And then the government will move. Okay, but bear in mind, you take the money, you still need to pay back, you know. Correct? Okay, so now that this group of people can take out the money, so they take the money. Our job to convince them to put the money in the right place. Okay, it's not somebody else to convince them. Okay, so if you can't convince your owner to do this, what happens? The banker is going to convince them to do this and invest in some bonds or whatever and invest take out the money, take out at 1%, invest in some bonds at 4% or 5%, and then the money is all gone already. So you don't need the banker to get the money. Okay. So what's the impact? First impact is that very, very obvious. It reduces the number of interest. They have an opportunity to cash out in a different way. Okay, much rather than selling, you can now consider. Next, this also increases liquidity in the market. Very obviously, there'll be more money that enters the market because the money, cheap money, I would say cheap money, right? Because it's 1% interest is readily available for a lot of people. A lot of us who are staying in private homes, hey, realize that I could even do another financing on my condo as well. Okay. So, opportunity. Who's losing in this? Okay, so anyway, opportunity here. There are many opportunities, not necessarily. If you don't recommend your client to refinance and take out the money. Last time this happened 3-4 years ago. Okay, I think 4 years ago, 5 years ago, where I would encourage my client to keep on gearing up, take out the cheap money, right? So those who gear up, got cheap money, they have the money. Those who didn't gear at a point of time when the things start coming down, then become a cash crunch. Okay, so now you have the opportunity to take out money again. You jolly well, if you can, take out the cheap money for smart investing, not asking you to spend. One of the other ways to earn your money, of course, is being the first person to tell your client to refinance. So for me, what I've been doing is that I've been sending out this, which I'll send out to you later. So I basically summarize the rates from TBS. I'll send it out right into the WhatsApp channel. I'll send it out to my clients and give them an update. What's happening now? Okay, I'll show the next slide. DBS and UOB in home loan more. Okay, with 0%. So you send this kind of article to your clients and look at the interest rate that the banks are offering now versus what they're paying now. It's a good time to refinance and coupled with the new regulatory change in the cooling measures. It's a good option to refinance and take out some cash as well. Okay. So how to this gives you a good option to just use a message and send it out to these people and say, hey, you know this is the latest rate, just update you and then what happens with that is that you start a conversation with these guys. And if they do a refinancing, it's money as well, right? So if you don't reach out to them, I think it's a waste. We have nothing better to do. Reaching out to them, they like something. If a person's not doing anything. So if you, what I mentioned here is that if you couple this together in the script of government reducing cooling measures, okay, it can be very, very effective. You put it all together, lump it all together, it can be very effective pitch that, hey, it's time to relook at your property portfolio with this additional cash. Okay, then it's for you to go and restructure how you want to actually restructure. So later on, I'll go into some creative financing techniques, as well as some creative techniques on how to possibly lower or significantly lower the ABST for future property purchases as well. Go up the screen. Okay, so is it better now? Offside people, so they can't hear me. Oh, because maybe the mic is behind. I'll push the mic in front. Put the mic on me. I can't walk around. Okay, sorry. Do this. Okay, can everybody hear me better? Offside. Yes. When you can't, I wouldn't know, but okay, that's good. Okay. So this is another slide for you to see. So a useful script that you can actually use is interest rates in Singapore are now just above the 1% mark, whereas returns on property remains higher, not high, but higher, 2.5%. Okay, so it will be a good opportunity to consider refinancing, taking an equity loan, and investment into property to take advantage of the potential upswing as government has shown indications of reduction of measures. Okay, so this is something you can use to ignite something in your clients. Next, I'll go in a little bit of creative financing techniques. So there have been case studies. I think there have been situations where some of you have gotten into where father wants to buy property for the son, but son don't have enough income, cannot get loan. Okay, or whoever lah, or buy under the wife name, cannot get loan. Okay, and things like that. And retirees want to downgrade, buy property, concern cannot get financing. After that, when you buy the next property. So now with this new change, okay, those people who last time they may have this problem, then they totally say, hey, don't buy anymore. A lot of people like that, right? They say initially was looking at it, then realized that hey, you cannot get financing, less KIV. So it's time to go and relook this group of people. Okay, if it rings a bell to you, anybody that come to mind, go and look for them because they may have the cash, but they just don't want to put it in. So what happens now is that they can go and buy first and pay off in cash. Okay, so maybe the father wants to buy for the son, but wants the son to service. Okay, so now what happens? The son without any income can still do a 50% financing, right? Okay, so what happens? The father buys, so the son buys the property, and what happens with that is that the father pays for the property in full, and once upon completion, apply for 50% financing. Okay, so for those situations that you had last time where they had problem with this, father's cash rich, but because of all this, it's time to reignite this. Next, another financing technique. Just to share with you, this is very, very useful, especially for clients who tell you that, wow, the monthly repayment, I go and buy this property, the monthly repayment, so is too much for me. So maybe to buy a 2 million property, what's the monthly repayment for 2 million property? Who knows? About? Anyone knows? Okay. About $6,000 for a person who has basically a client who's 50 years old and takes a 15-year loan up to age of 65, right? So they have to pay that kind of money. Wow, cannot. Okay, so what happens is that this is a way to get around what is currently in place is by taking a no lock-in 15-year financing with Bank A. So today they take a 80% financing with Bank A, and what happens with that is that 3 months later, refinance with Bank B. So when you refinance, you can refinance up to 75 years old, extra 10 years. Okay, so what happens with this is that effectively you can now refinance to total of 25 years. Okay, and if you structure this properly, then what? You get your money twice as well. Okay? So here's the difference in calculation. If, assuming the case study earlier, your client is 50 years old, okay, and they took basically a financing of $1 million, right? I said two wrongly, $1 million. Okay, over a period of 15 years, they need to pay $6,000 a month. That's a lot of money, right? However, if they did the scheme that I mentioned earlier, this solution here, then what happens is reduced to 3,860 a month with that extra 10 years of financing. Okay, so this what happens, it makes it a little bit more affordable. Who doesn't understand? Anybody? Does everybody understand? Hey, no, if somebody don't understand, raise your hand, I will explain again. As long as you refinance your property today, you can refinance up to 75. Okay? Yes, cannot be the same bank. Okay? So I've done 2 cases recently with this. So I think now the thing is, you don't offer this to your client, you don't offer this solution to your client, other mortgage brokers will offer this to your client and you lose hands down already because you offer them this and then a mortgage broker come in and say, hey, I have a better solution for you. This is the solution. Then what happens? You will lose the deal. Okay, you lose your referral come to the bank. Okay, understand? Raymond, good. Everybody else, all good? Okay. Anybody that pays you is a good bank, right? Okay, this is also very exciting, the third change. Okay, the third change, the additional conveyance duties. So previously what happened is that you see a lot of bulk sale going through, right? A lot of bulk sale, bulk sale, bulk sale. And this is ways for them to, so developers are most of the time still holding up the price. They don't reduce the price. Even if stamp duty coming, people hope for a good deal, a very good deal. You can't get too much of a good deal. Why? Because most of them at the back know, never mind, I can always activate my trump card later. And my buddy friend from this other development firm will buy mine, I buy his. They scratch your back, scratch. I scratch your back, he scratch my back. Okay? So now what happened is that this thing can't happen anymore. So I think the changes that we're going to see from this is quite interesting. If only time will tell what happens, but I think there's going to be a lot of interesting developments with this. Okay, but one thing I think you all need to understand is that yes, developers will probably need to cut the prices closer to that, motivated to sell, right? But by how much? That's the question. So we need to understand to a certain point, it doesn't make sense for them. Your buyer want to knock off like 50% of the price. It's not possible. Okay, because what happens, they better off using his own name and buy and pay ABSD, right? Than to give you that kind of discount. Okay. Having said this, also, I think recently, if you all saw, who is actively looking the View 8 channel on Slack? I don't see many response or replies, but if you notice, actually Vivek sent out something very important. The one of the units, the developer gave a 200,000 discount, right? 35% discount from the base price. Okay, this is very important information to know because why? The threshold seems like they're willing to get that kind of big discount. So okay, so if you haven't been looking at the information in Slack as well, especially updates from the project ICs, I think you should start taking a look because all these are all very critical information to know. And these are things that is good. You can go and tell people who have served before and view it, hey, now maybe you can go and try a price, right? Because this unit just ran at this price. Okay, and so this is a good opportunity. Any news, breaking news like this can instill a reaction, and that's what you want. Okay, so you look up for this kind of news and then you can send out to your clients or people who come to mind and say, hey, this developer, maybe you can try at this price. Okay, then you can ignite and reignite his interest in the property and the purchase. Okay, a little bit about the third change. Then why do this? Because if you actually go and look the whole since January until today, I always see the same thing. So many cooling measures in place, but developers are still making a lot of money. Capital land profit is up 11.7%. Okay, but since unpredictable conditions, probably 1 to 8. Don't go and whack me now. Next year very unpredictable. Okay, then UIC profit gains 10% on sales from Beyond Center and Alex Residence. Despite all the cooling measures, what the developers are making money, you know. Okay. Yes, UL's profit down 26%, but they still make 306 million. Okay, so now with this, what happens? Their profits are probably going to go down a little bit. Okay, because they will have to find ways and means to, versus previously, a lot of the, actually look at the remaining stock. Okay, a lot of them are probably, I can tell you, they're holding up the price so high, refusing to give discount. Probably they're already behind already, stand by somebody already. Okay, so this is another reason why the recent high profile takeover last year. And all the recent bulk deals all being shared there. So Starlight Suites, Novel 18. Novel 18 they did a structure for external investors. Then I live on Grange. So I live at Grange. So all these are all the recent high profile bulk sale deals. Okay, so the government wants to obviously from this change, they want to stop this thing from happening. Okay, and they want to, and this will in turn eat into the profits of the developers. Okay. So I think the last bulk deal that you actually see is for Robin Residence. So Robin Residence is fully sold already. They sold the remaining last unit on the day that this news came out. Then they managed to close their deal. They probably realized, hey, today's our last day to get this done. If not, we have to find some way to sell the remaining units in Robin Residence or incur the stamp, the ABSD. So they have the really Robin Residence, probably the last bulk sale that you will see at, I would say, pretty much fair market price, because in the future, if a fund wants to come in and do bulk sale, bulk purchase, it has to be a substantial discount, because now they have to pay the additional conveyancing fee. Okay, and it will be a 12% rate, so it's actually a very high rate. It's as close, it's basically as good as paying your ABSD. Okay. Okay, so why is this significant? As I mentioned, developers will now be very motivated to sell their units before your ABSD deadline. Okay, and as I research, so Tony has been giving a lot of this data, right? Take some effort to look at the data, because all this data all means something. If you look into it, it actually all means something. So Tony has been providing like where it's moving, the latest trends, okay, and so if you actually look at what is being transacted, I always look at the landed transactions and all this, then you see which districts are moving very fast. And the other thing also you notice is that Tony will also keep tabs on, let's say, which are the projects with leftover units, the QC deadline is hitting, any change in prices, recent, and things like that. Okay, so if you're actually looking at all the targeted data, you realize that, hey, if the developer give a big discount on this particular project, is something you can look at, or something that you can ask your clients to look at. Okay, buyers always like to have a good deal, right? So a lot of people feel that, hey, people lost 200,000, I'm buying 200,000 cheaper and I feel good. Okay, they like this kind of feeling. They don't like to be buying that, hey, this person bought at 1 million, I need to buy it at 1.2 million. A lot of people don't like this kind of feeling. But you tell them, hey, you're buying 200,000, people pay 1 mil, now you need to pay 800,000. Then a lot of people have that feel good feeling. Okay, when they go and tell their friends also, they say, hey, I bought a very good deal. You know, people last time buy this price, they look good as well. Okay, so next, this is a list of projects to watch. Okay, because this one was taken off a newspaper article mid last year. So it's a little bit outdated in terms of the number of sold units. However, one nice thing to look at is that based on the date, the ABSD liable date, okay, you will know likely who are the ones that are probably going to give a discount, who was not going to give a discount. So, for example, people January 2017 filing was already paid. Okay, then in February, one device they also paid already. Okay, then I think the recent ones were like Hillview Peak. The developer remember the last few penthouses they cleared at a flat fee of 888 per square feet or something like that, just to get rid of the last few penthouses, so they cleared off everything as well. Okay, so what are the nice projects to look at with a lot of leftover units and the ABSD coming up this year? I would say probably number one is U8. They recently sold the unit very cheap. Why? Their deadline is in June. Okay, in June. So June, that's it. And I think they have quite a few units there, right? Yeah. So they'll be very motivated to clear these last 50 units. Okay, that's where their profit margin is. They have to go and pay the ABSD. Yeah. They probably end up buying the units. It will come to a point where it don't make sense to sell. They'll probably buy over. Okay. Another interesting project to look at is Alex Residence and the Crest. Okay, these two. All this year, September this year, and Alex is December this year. So Alex, the pricing is still quite high right now. We can see what happens with that. At the bottom, I think all these projects, yeah, these are I think 2018 they have done recently. They have dropped the price quite a bit as well. They need to move. I think they moved 6 units or 7 units over the last few weeks. Okay, so this is something to look at as well. So from this list, actually, you can refer to this one. We'll put it up, right? So from this list, you can refer. You any buyers on hand, this will be a good list to refer to. Chances are all the projects listed here, you don't get a ridiculous 0.5 com. You know, the recent new launches, all the com 0.5, and people are happily go and push their buyer to buy that. Okay, why do that? Okay, look at this list. Okay, so this is another article that was in the papers just a few days ago. Bulk sales harder. So developers also say that they have options as well. Not that they have no options. So the options, obviously, number one is to buy over. Or number two, if bulk sales happen, they just pay the ABSE, which means that they have to bulk sale at a lower price. Okay, but one thing interesting about this is that they said that based on the extension charge, the third option is pay. They pay the ABSE, right? So this one thing, the interesting thing they said is that if they pay the extension charge, okay, it's basically only an increase. They have to increase the price by between 3 to 5%. Okay, so depending on the units, they have to the price increase will be about 3% of the unit price, 3 to 5% of the unit price. So for particular development, so every developer you see what's their QC, what's their applicable QC charge divided by number of units there. That is their differential. So some of them may end up paying and incurring. So units that your clients are looking at, hoping for a discount. For example, Liden residents. Your clients say, hey, let's wait for a discount. But what happens? It may not happen, the discount may not happen. Okay, good developers are holding on, they may not discount. So what may happen is that the developer may end up paying the QC and increasing the price. Correct? So it doesn't always work in your favor to wait. If you're getting a good deal, good price, and it's a unit you want to live in, you like it, take action and buy it. Get a good slight discount and take it and buy it. Okay, some developers are very, very unlikely to go and cut prices because it's in the long term, especially their names at stake. If they are known to cut prices significantly, you'll never see 35% discount with these guys. Okay, but if you are known to do this, right, what happens? Next time nobody will buy your project anymore. They'll wait until last month, then final month, then they'll buy your project, right? So you must understand this kind of concept. You must understand because your client, never mind, I'll wait until last month they will sell to me. Okay, it may not happen. So you need to let them understand that, hey, which developer are you buying from? Okay, being recorded, so I don't want to say more. But if it's not recorded, okay. So where's the opportunity, and what do I need to do? I think the main focus now is really to go out and meet new people. Meet people, new people, find ways and means to network around with new people. Okay, and even the content of your mailers, you got new content to put in, right? Very big news. How are the new cooling measures going to affect you? Yeah, correct. Something like this. So instead of your mailers always for the last 3 years has been mundane, right? Always just, hey, this is what I sold, this. But now some people have questions. A lot of people now have questions. People have contact you. Hey, what do you think these new cooling measures? What's going to happen? So your role will now with the knowledge go out and educate people, okay, advise people. So one thing to do is network with people, increase your circle of clientele of friends. To reconnect with the people you haven't reconnected with this information, just send them a friendly message. Like that day I created the 10 message, right? The updates. Very simple, you forward to all your clients. Those people who want to talk to you, they will reply you and say, oh, okay, thanks. Or those people will say, hey, so how does it impact? Is it time to buy now? Okay, they will reply you. So what happens? Just this is a good time to reconnect back with your clients with very neutral, generic information. You're not asking them to buy something. Okay, you're not pushing something, but you are just reconnecting. Okay. Okay, I want to talk a little bit in terms of this because this is something that I've been sharing very, very low profile, but share this all together with you in terms of this is I would say it's not a loophole, but it's something, a way to reduce ABSD. Okay, one of it is official. That means you can do it already. One of it is not yet official, but I would like to talk a little bit about it. We're just really last mile. We're really doing a last mile with. It's a very close tie-up with the lawyers and the bankers. Okay, and then hopefully we can offer this out to your clientele. That means we don't want to blast it out until a point where the so-called loophole, if it isn't, it's a loophole, gets covered up. Okay, we don't want that to happen. Okay, so reducing ABSD. This is referring to building under construction. So a case study is this: a keen buyer, okay, wants to do an investment into a new launch. Okay, but already owns a property. Okay, and he finds that paying the additional ABSD is too much to pay. Paying ABSD is way too much. At the same time, there are spare names in the family that are not being used. Okay, obviously maybe wife, or more often than not, the kids. kid's name not being used yet. Okay, so now we're coupling this with the financing and things like that, right? There are a lot of different options. So this one is more to, if you want to do the financing, 80% financing, okay, assuming this guy don't have the full 100% to pay up and then do the 50% loan later. But what happens with this is that he has the 20% or 30% down payment, and he wants to buy under the son's name or the wife's name who has no income. Okay, so what happens? Okay, I need to draw on this and I need to get rid of this thing. I am going to remove it now. Wow. The person who, how do I remove it? Can't remove it. Goodness. Nope. It's gone, but it's still on my screen. Okay, anyway, forget it. Come. Let's draw with this. Goodness. Okay, so with this, what happens is that father buys, or so let's don't do father, let's do the wife one. Okay, so wife buys the property by paying the 5%, right? New loan property. So wife already paid the 5%. After that, exercise the option and pay 15%, correct? Then pays 15%. So total of 20% paid. Then what happens? The wife then pays the stamp duties. Okay, so stamp duties, it will be your 3% minus 1,400. Okay, then now this is where the problem starts. The wife has no income or not enough income, so cannot get financing for the remaining 80%, right? So you have a very big problem. But okay, what happens with this is now the wife does a sub-sale to the husband. Okay, so the wife will sub-sell 1% to the husband. Okay, so during this period, what happens? The wife sells 1% to the husband, and what happens with this 1%? Husband will pay ABSD. Okay. On 1% share. Okay, and what happens? The wife will pay SSD on 1% share. Okay, then what happens? Two names are in the property already, and they can go and get financing from the bank. Okay, and both names become in the property already. Okay, very simple, right? Okay, so if the husband and wife, Alvin's question is this: if the husband and wife buy from day one, and he go and give himself 1%, the wife 99%, based on MAS ruling, they charge you the full ABSD on the husband, how many properties husband own. Correct? So what happens is this is now you are able to get past. This is a very specific scenario, but however, you never know when this scenario need to come about. Because some people have very specific scenarios that, hey, you solve the problem, and when you solve the problem, what happens? They will buy from you. Okay, so this is for building under construction. Only applicable for subsale, yes. Okay, so this is the completion one, right? So with this information, so with this, you must understand, we were trying to go past, I wouldn't say go past, but we were trying to find a solution for people who are caught in this situation where the wife want to buy but no income. Okay, and because if they buy together, they need to incur ABSD, right? So they need to buy separately. So are you evading tax? The answer is probably. Oh wait, I complete this quick. Are you evading tax? The answer is no. Why? Because the husband is paying ABSD one, the wife paying SSD one. Are you evading tax? No, you are paying the tax. Okay, for this 1%. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. So yes. So Jeannie's question is that what happens if the BUC already built to 30% or 40%? Okay. So if those BUCs that already built to 30-40%, the buyer must ensure that he has enough money to pay up to that 40%. That's it. Okay. So whatever the building is up to, they pay up to 30% or 40%. You must ensure that they have to pay up to that. Okay, so bear in mind, this is actually more often than not, this is the situation you will get, because what happens is that chances are the husband already has one bank loan. So on the second property, he can only loan 50%. Okay, so if they already have intention to buy another property, right, they probably know that, hey, I only can loan 50% on this property. So the BUC can be really paid until 50% also. Okay. Any questions? Okay, so I's question is that she wants to understand a little bit more in terms of the transition, all right? The transition from when the 5%, 15% is stamp duties. Okay, so after the 15, what happens is that when you, after the 15% payment, within 2 weeks, you need to pay the stamp duties, right? So you pay your 3% stamp duties. What happens? You are then officially, the SMT has been executed already, the wife now owns the property already. Then last time, remember, there's a lot of people who sub-sell. So the wife sub-sell 1% of the share to the husband on the very next day. Okay, and then after that, pay the stamp duties, ABSD and SSD. Okay, so within another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, this whole thing is completed as well. Okay, and both names are in property. Then before that, you reactivate the banker already, that this is going to happen. Okay, Natasha has done it before, very well aware of what's happening, UOB, and you can actually tell them with this situation, and the banker can then assure the client as well that, hey, yeah, we've done this many times, this can be done, and they are ready to proceed. Just okay. Yeah. How long is the duration? From where to when? For everything to happen? 2 months? It really depends, because if it's a new launch property and they only pay 20%, the next drawdown will probably be at least 8 months to a year. So you actually have that kind of timing to play around. So it's not something that's critical. Okay. Yes. If both names are inside, yes. 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 No. Okay, Wayne's question is this. Wayne's question is asking whether the wife from day one of purchase needs to secure financing. Correct? No, 20% must be cash. So they don't have to. Okay, so the answer is that the wife do not have to secure any financing. But before that, already talk to the banker probably and feel comforted that, oh, once the husband's name is in, after that, yes. Right. Yeah. Yeah, can. Yeah. Legal fees, okay. So legal fees, this is treated as a buy and a sell. But honestly, if you package it together, the same lawyer. $1 million property, but previously or 70,000, or 100,000. This is definitely a better option. The law firm can arrange to have a preferred law firm to work with such that they know what's going on. Basically, it's all documentation in the witness. No. Okay, so Wayne's question is whether they can decouple from their current property to go and do this. The answer is yes, they can. So they decouple the property. They have to decouple. Because if they don't decouple the property, then it doesn't make any sense. When they decouple, they totally remove. That means they decouple the property. One property is under the wife or husband, and the other property is held by, they basically goes and purchase the next property under the wife, for example. Yeah. Okay, any more questions? Yes, yes. Okay, James' question is whether this scenario can be with the parents and the kids. The answer is that even if your girlfriend also can. Okay, anybody. Work anybody. Okay. Okay, so Jeannie's question is relating to CPF, whether if two parties who are not related, whether they can use their CPF. Okay, Tony has confirmed that this is doable as of the last change. Okay, and Tony is getting an official memo from CPF to confirm this as well. Okay, I'm saying this for the guys who are on. It is quite a lot of people actually. Okay, next, more interesting, resale. So, keen buyer wants to invest in a resale property. Same scenario, but resale is more challenging. Can it be done yet? The answer is no, but can it be done soon? The answer is probably yes. Okay, it's things that we are working on now. We've already spoken to, of course, the people who work closely with legal works and stuff. So, verbally, we've got a confirmation. UOB side, front end, okay, we have got in contact, met them, discussed with them. They are in principle okay. Okay, so let me let you know the challenges with this. The challenge with the first issue is very simple because the payment is up to 20%. However, for resale, it's a different challenge. So that there are three roadblocks for resale. First roadblock is MAS, right? Because you buy under two names for resale, 1%, 99%, it doesn't matter. You still pay ABSD. So that roadblock, you all know how to get around it, right? Second roadblock is with the stamp duties and with the bank. So it's only two roadblocks. The second roadblock is when you actually do the completion. Okay, what happens is that the first purchase was you. Let's say I buy from. Okay, sorry. Let's restart this. So assuming the wife uses her name and buy the property. Okay, and in the meantime, during the exercise period, they go and sell to the husband. Okay, and waiting for the bank loan to happen. But later on, the bank, what happens is when they use the second option and go to the bank for a bank loan, the bank is supposed to issue the money to the wife, right? But the problem is that the wife don't have the title. The title is still with the original owner, correct? So that's why the first scenario cannot work. Okay, so what happens with this now is we are trying to do a tripartite completion. Okay, so look at the scenario again. The wife buys the property from the first buyer. Sorry, from the seller. Okay? And what happens with this is that the wife exercises the option. Okay, and pays the penalties. Next, during the completion period, the wife issues out an option for 1% to the husband. Okay, husband then takes the option and pays the 1% additional buyer stamp duties. Wife pay a 1% SSD. Okay, so now SSD they pay is only 12% now, right? 12% SSD. Then they take this and go to the bank and get a loan. Okay, then what happens now? The problem why it cannot be done is because when the bank look at the option, okay, we are willing to lend you because it's husband and wife name. But during completion statement, what happened? The money is supposed to be paid to the wife because assuming the wife already got 100% share of the property, right? And then after that, but the title is not with the wife. The title is still with the seller. So what we need to do is actually, we got the three parties together and say, hey, this is the situation. Are you willing to do a tripartite completion, which means that with the two options in place, the bank has to see that there are two options in place. Okay, instead of issuing the money to the wife, knowing that this thing is going to happen together with a lawyer who knows what is going on, we are getting the banks to pay the first seller. Okay, so with this, what happens is that if the understanding is correct, the banks and the lawyers and know what's going on with a three-party completion, if the bank, instead of releasing the money to the wife for the title deed, they can now release the money to the first seller for the title deed. Because the end state, I'm telling you, be that the end state is still the same. You're still going to get a title deed for sure from the first. So it's just that somebody has to control it behind, and that's a trusted party has to control it behind, and that's the lawyer. So this one is all to be discussed. Just to let you know, this is something that final stages, with very final stages. Okay, just getting this documented. Then I will try a trial run with maybe one of my clients or whatever. This one has to be documented, because if it's not documented, they buy halfway, exercise option, cannot complete. That one is a really, yeah. Okay. So I'll let you know once this can be done, and once this can be done, we'll do one official one. That means I already have written for a lawyer, but I don't have written from UOB yet. Once UOB gives us a written, you know this is done already, then we have another opportunity to go out and use this method to sell resale. Okay. So some small little initiatives that we have started or we have done. Look in Slack. Don't know how many of you know. Slack, often all the channels you see, who is actively using Slack? Don't lie, because we have a report there and see when you're last every week, right? There's a report of Slack, right? Telling who are okay, so if you actually look in Slack today, there are new channels. Previously, we only had channels of projects and we are pointed for. Okay. So number one, we also have this project that we are not pointed for. Okay, but inside project. So for example, if you log in now to Slack and you go and look for a channel called Ranger Park or Park Rivera. What happens is when you go in, I have pinned the elevation charts. Okay, and this will actually contain it will be updated on a weekly basis, okay, every Sunday or Monday. And what happens with this is that it will contain the price list of all and the units that are still left over. So it's a quick reference for you. Okay, you're buyers, you want a quick reference without having to call somebody. Okay, and the good thing there is that we will then have one more list. Okay, so there will be one channel which contains all the projects that are available. So what happens is that offhand, right? If you have a buyer and you want to know of a new launch project, which project to go to, which agency to go to for which project, it will be one whole consolidated list of all the projects. So this will all be in Slack, okay, and all pinned. So you look for Grandeur Park, you look for Park Rivera, probably the contact person is there as well as the commission. Commission is there as well. They don't ask the commission, I think that it's all there. So all this information all readily available all in Slack. Okay, this is good enough. But, based on the elevation chart, you can tell whichever facing. Here, this area gives you all the facing. Okay, all the facing here and all the room type and everything is all there. Okay. Okay, so my ending page to you is that you have already survived 8 years of cooling measures, and now they are removing it. So it can only be more exciting, right? Every time they do this, the market changes, it gets a little bit more exciting. Okay, so don't sit around and wait for things to happen. Go and make things happen. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Okay, if no questions, then thank you all for joining. And yeah, it's nice to see that. Okay, it's nice to see all the people who have joined us on Zoom. So I hope that from who is SureLuckHome.co. Okay. Okay, so from here onwards, I guess next time in the future as well, if you can't attend the training, you can just go in and listen to what's happening. Okay, so we'll be introducing this for future trainings as well. Okay, so appreciate your feedback. Those of you who are viewing this from Zoom, please give us your feedback. Okay, with that, come to an end. Thanks to you all for coming. Yes.